Just briefly explaining to you our governance. Actually, this one of the subcommittee of sustainable energy research is purviewed under COSTI, which is the committee of ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on STI, Science, Technology, and Innovation. The moment we have one network under sustainable energy research, which is ASEAN Network for Nuclear Power Safety Research. And for our project and proposal, many of the fundings are coming from our 17 partners. And on top of that, we also are funded by our national funding. So many of our, or most of our research or target areas are in line with sustainable development goals. And I think everyone knows about this. There are 17 goals under the UN. And these are our priority areas for the next few years. Actually, this has been revised last year because we thought there are some relevant or non-relevant areas after the endemic phase. So we are focusing on four, which are the new and renewable or alternative energy, such as biomass, biofuel, solar, and energy storage system. We thought clean energy and environment technology are very important as well. Some of the examples under these subcategories is clean coal technology, nuclear technology, and also natural gas. We thought energy efficient technologies is also a big thing. And energy technology application and solution for remote areas is also seen as important. Of course, our areas are not limited to this, but these are the priorities. So on top of that, we have four thrusts for CSIR work plan next few years. And of course, these thrusts are addressing the contributions from all aspects of CSIR until 2025. The first one, we are encouraging, we want to strengthen the strategic collaboration in between the academics, the research institution, the networks of centers of excellence, the private sectors, in order to create an effective ecosystem for the capability development, technology transfer, and also commercialization. And for number two, we want to enhance the mobility of scientists and researchers, particularly the engagements of women. So we are encouraging the participations of women and also the youth for the science, technology, and also innovation. For the third one, we have to establish innovative system and also smart partnership with pilot or other partners in order to nurture STI enterprises to support the medium, small, micro entrepreneurships and nurture knowledge creation and also STI application to raise competitiveness. And finally, we want to raise public awareness and also to strengthen the STI incorporation to enhance ASEAN science and technology cooperations. So these are just some examples on the completed projects under the subcommittee. And as you can see, the country coordinators are listed as there, and some of these projects are co-led by few countries. And these are the current projects under CSIRs. Of course, this one will be updated regularly. At the moment, we have funding proposal as well as projects to be endorsed under the subcommittee. And I think with that, we're looking forward, of course, to collaborate with any researchers under these subcommittees. And if you have any questions or anything to discuss, my email is there. And of course, thank you for your attention. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rosna, for giving us this introduction to the work of the subcommittee. And I think that's very important and also in a way setting the scene for today's presentation, because I guess we can already identify some areas where there's particular interest and opportunity for collaboration between ASEAN and EU-based research entities. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, as we said, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So please type your questions in the Q&A box and we will then answer them later on. Now, I have the pleasure now to introduce our second speaker for today, who is going to enlighten us on the opportunities for us to, or for you to apply for Horizon Europe funding in those particular thematic areas. Our next speaker is Shari Yildirim. He is joining us from Turkey, where he works currently as the head of the EU Framework Program Department at TÜBİTAK, which is the National Coordination Office of Horizon Europe in Turkey. He is also nominated as Horizon Europe National Coordinator of Turkey. He represents the country also at the Strategic Energy Technology Plan as the steering group member since 2015. So Shari, of course, has a lot of knowledge on this area, and of course on how to facilitate international collaboration. So I'm handing over to Shari now to present to us. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suzan. It's my pleasure to give this speech today with these valuable participants, and thank you very much again, EU-ASEAN, for organizing this event and giving us opportunity to share the Horizon Europe collaboration opportunities. So my name is Çağrı. I am from the Scientific Technological Research Council of Turkey. I am working at TÜBİTAK, but also I am head of the EU Framework Program Department and working as a Horizon Europe National Coordinator of Turkey. I have been a national contact point in the energy domain since 2015. So I am also still currently carrying on my role in the Cluster 5 Climate, Energy and Mobility. So today I am going to be more specifically, especially how Horizon Europe is eligible and giving opportunities for the international collaborators outside of the Europe continent. So, you know, Horizon Europe is the ninth of framework program. So this program has been continuing since mid of 1980s. So it started with the member states. Now in Horizon 2020, which was the eighth framework program, at that time it becomes more actually global. And now we can say it with the participation of New Zealand, it's definitely a global program now. So it's becoming more and more open to international partners, and main aim actually become global research and innovation, and providing to the global research and innovation ecosystems. So with this policy aim, European Union has actually come across with the global approach and research and innovation policy priority to be more open research and innovation, international collaboration, and strengthen multilateral partnership with to transition for the transition of Green Deal transition. So with this aim, they would like to open Horizon Europe, which is the giant program actually. 95 billion euro is billion budget is eligible for the all participants for the 7 year between 2021 2027. So a guiding principle of European Commission is the commitment to openness based on the values and principles. What does it mean, values and principles? Actually, for example, think about the defense industry research and innovation is not supported. So it's basically aimed to actually civil purposes, actually. So that was one issue. And pursuit of level playing field reciprocity. So, and also pool global efforts to tackle global challenges. As you know, global warming right now we are facing. Right now we are based in Turkey, and I'm based in Ankara, which is the capital city of Turkey. Yesterday the temperature it hits to 50 degrees. Never seen it. So that's happening in every region. I am following up the actually South Asian region. There are floodings, heat waves, etc. So this is the global efforts. To overcome these problems, actually, main aim, working together in global way. So with this purpose, European Union is giving this policy priority for Horizon Europe is the one tool. There are other framework programs, by the way, not only Horizon Europe, Digital Europe, etc. But this is the other areas. It is the opportunity you can discover in the future, I can say it. So, Dr. Suzanne, when it started, she mentioned about what is Horizon Europe. Yes, it's based on the 3 pillars. First pillar is about the research, beyond the research, European Research Council, Marie Skłodowska-Curie. So Marie Curie, for example, is open to anyone. So if you have the research idea, want to go to Europe, Horizon in the purpose of the Europe, research universities, etc., you can go there and conduct your study there with the support of the Marie Curie. So, for example. But today we are going to focus on Pillar 2. So, and the Cluster 5. In the Pillar 2, there are 6 clusters. The first cluster is health. The second one is culture, creativity, and inclusive society. Basically, social science-based research is supported. The third one is civil security for society. The fourth one, digital industry and space. Fifth one, climate, energy, and mobility. And the sixth one, basically, is the food research. Food area, bioeconomy research is being supported. So today we are going to focus on climate and energy mobility. I'm just passing to another slide. So what is the openness for the Horizon Europe? What kind of opportunities? So Horizon Europe, by default, open to almost all countries. Exception, there are some, restrictive countries. For example, due to the Russian-Ukraine war, Russia is not eligible, Russian participants, for example. It depends on the, political situations, etc. You need to follow up, but it's almost open to any country. So non-discriminatory. Researchers and innovators of any nationality can apply for grants. For example, I mentioned Marie Curie, ERC, anyone can apply. But for Pillar 2, by default, you can involve in the projects if you are an associated member. There are 3 types of the membership in Horizon Europe. The first one, if you are a European Union country, by default, you are eligible for all, funding opportunities. The second one, association agreement with the European Commission. So each country knock the door of the European Commission and they would like to say that we would like to be part of the Horizon Europe and we would like to collaborate. So 17 countries right now has been associated to Horizon Europe. One of them is the latest one, New Zealand. Now on the way, we have Canada and Japan, but still going on. Maybe in the next framework program in 2027, we can see Japan, Canada, even the ASEAN countries, for example, Philippines, Malaysia, etc. So Morocco and UK association agreement has been still going on. They can still be part of the as a third part country. So today I am going to focus on the third way of the application, which is applicable for most of the ASEAN countries, other third countries. So, since the Horizon Europe funding is eligible if you're a third country, if you're an associated member. In this case, for example, Turkey is an associated member, they can be eligible for funding. If you are in the list of the low and middle income countries, you can still be part of the Horizon Europe with the funding. But other countries still be part of the Horizon Europe projects if, without the funding as an associated partner, but still be part of in the consortiums with your own cost. Or you can go to your funding agency, you can ask the money for funding. That's all the opportunities. So in some calls, you can see in the call topics, there are co-funding mechanisms eligible. For example, international cooperation is supported with Canada. Canadian partners should go to the Canadian funding agency to get the funding. So those kind of opportunities always going on. Depends on the call topics. You need to go to call topics in international call opportunity. You can see that. So automatically eligible EU funding members in the third countries, which is not associated member. So most of the Horizon Europe calls are also open to participants from non-associated countries and international organizations. Moreover, some Horizon Europe calls are particularly relevant for international cooperation, encouraging, even requiring the participation of from non-associated, non-EU countries. We call them as INCO calls. Today, I am going to give the list of available INCO calls in Cluster 5. So, participants from non-associated countries can take part in Horizon Europe actions, but not always with funding. If you are not part of the middle and low income list of countries. When I check you can see the link there. The European Commission is always updating the list of countries which are associated members, which are in the list of the low and middle income country list. Yesterday, I checked the ASEAN organization, and I saw the list of the countries. Maybe I checked the wrong website, but please let me know. But what I see that Indonesia, Malaysia, Laos, Myanmar, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam are eligible for funding in INCOCOS. So other countries in ASEAN organization still be part of the Horizon Europe, but without funding as an associated partner. So I hope I could clarify that. This is a complexity in a way, but believe me, in the past, it was more complex. So I see some hands. Should we answer all of them at the end of the session, right, Dr. Susanna, in the questions session? How should I proceed it? What do you suggest?
We will take all the questions at the end. I think it's best if you continue with the presentation and we're collecting it, and then we'll moderate the Q&A.
Okay, Dr. Susanna, thank you. So, in some cases, even though you are not in the list of the eligible countries as associated members or low and middle income countries, you could be still eligible for funding from the European Commission in exceptional cases. For example, there is a technology research which is not available in European continent, for example. If this is proved, for example, in Malaysia, there is a research, very, breakthrough research, and this could be convinced by the European experts, so the funding could be eligible. For example, in the case of access to particular research infrastructure or access to particular geographical environments. In some call topics says that, for example, I mentioned that global warming is a global issue right now, and you need to conduct your study not only European continent, but also other areas of the Earth. So that could be, in a way, for funding opportunity or access to particular data. So please check this link here under. In some cases, co-financing mechanisms are eligible from other third countries, from case to case. In each topic, you need to see all call topics case to case. Please be aware of it. So, what are we called as an international calls? In call topics, sometimes flagging of the call topics specifically relevant for international cooperation. Depends on the strategic thematic areas, geographical areas, multilateral initiatives, collaboration with the key partners. Horizon Europe call programs are established, set for 2 years program. And in 2023 and 2024 work program, INCO flag topics are listed in the funding and tender portal. At the end of the presentation, I give some useful links, and you can search all available international flag call topics by, searching in there. You will see it. So you can see in each cluster, there are identified international cooperation flag call topics. In cluster 5, it is the most tensed cluster, by the way. It's full of the call topics. You can see 219 call topics are listed in the 2-year program. And 38 of them are flagged as an international cooperation called INCO flagged call topics, which is equivalent 20% of that. So this is a very high number, high number of sharing. So now, after giving information, what is the eligibility for third countries participation? Now I will give some information about the Horizon Europe Cluster 5 Climate and Energy Mobility. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to check in previous event with EU-ASEAN. There were excellent events with Cluster 6, for example, it's all other thematic areas. You can check other opportunities by seeing the EU-ASEAN website, by the way. I want to mention this also. So, climate and energy mobility, the main aim, contribution to transition to Green Deal and digital transformation. The second one, if you check the work program, you will see lots of references to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for 2020-30 and EU policy priorities. To achieve these goals, to meet with the objectives, European Commission allocated 15 billion to this cluster. There are 6 destinations under the work program. Some call topics, most of them, more than 90% of them, single stage. So one deadline. Some of them, especially destination 1, climate area, 2-stage call topics are identified there. Under the cluster 5, there are 2 missions. One mission is about the climate, the other mission about the cities, 100 cities mission. And there are 13 Horizon Europe partnership. You see, this is a very giant, actually, cluster. It's not enough in 1 hour to mention all the opportunities, but hopefully you will start today, and then please do not hesitate to ask any question to give. We would be very happy to provide you any other details in the partnerships, missions, and all eligible funding area. So, climate and energy mobility, there are policy priorities. For example, in cluster 5, fossil fuel-based research are not supported. So, in order to understand which thematic areas are supported, I am going to start to say, for example, the first one, energy supply. The second one, energy systems and grids, building and industrial energy transition, communities and cities, industrial competition in mobility, clean, secure, and accessible transport and mobility, smart mobility, energy storage, climate science and solutions areas are supported. 9 priority areas. What are those? How these priority areas are identified? With the inline of the European policy priorities. As you know, in 2019, European Commission come up with very radical policy priority, Green Deal. What is Green Deal? Green Deal is aiming to make European continent in 2050 as a non-carbon based area, carbon-free continent. With this aim, lots of support mechanisms, investment plans, credit mechanisms are opened, but also it shapes a lot Horizon Europe. The other policy priority, Digital Europe, developing an economy that works for people. Science, not for science, science for citizen as well. So citizen is very important aspect of in all thematic areas. Please take into consideration of that. Europe fit for digital age, stronger Europe in the world, and new push for European democracy. Those are the priority policy areas. And please check them whenever we Turkish coordinator visit our office as an NCP office. Most of the time before starting, please read all the policy priorities. When you write a proposal, especially in the excellence section, you need to reference them. You need to make sure that your proposal is working for the EU policy priority. So that's why you need to know what is 2030 climate target plan, what is Green Deal, what is EU climate law, what is the legislation Fit for 55, etc. Those are priority. Most of the time, European Commission come up with very valuable communications. For example, hydrogen strategy. Now, European Union is would like to be leading actor in the hydrogen area, renovation wave, etc. So policy is very important aspect. So as I mentioned, in the work program, there are 6 destinations. This is a giant, very boring work program, by the way, 400 pages. It's not easy to read it. But if you know what you are looking by searching with the key, words, you can easily identify the core topics you are looking for. There are 2 missions and partnerships, institutionalized, co-program, and co-funded. I am not going into details with the partnerships because it makes it complex for you today. So there are 6 destinations. I am just going to give some basic information why there are 6 destinations, how it's different in a way. Destination 1, it's for climate science and responses for the transformation towards climate neutrality. Basically, it's basic science research is supported under the destination 1 with aim of the climate research, understanding of the past, present, expected future changes in climate and its implications on the ecosystem and society, and closing knowledge gaps and the development of the tools that support policy coherence and implementation of effective mitigation and adaptation solutions. In this destination, you will see the core topics, in some cases, search in the Antarctic regions, for example, for the climate effects. Social science aspect of the climate. So this is a very interesting destination. The destination 2 is basically cross-sectoral solutions of the all 6 destinations. Batteries is one of them. Hydrogen is the second of them. And cities. Now, in the first year, in 2021, cities core topics are listed here, but you will see all the cities core topics now in the mission. It passed to that. Breakthrough technologies, low TRL research are supported under the destination 2. It's a bottom-up call. It's interesting for all basic science researchers, especially. Destination 3 is basically renewable energy, actually, to be honest. For example, wave energy, wind energy, offshore wind, carbon capture and storage technology, photovoltaics, concentrated solar power, all that kind of research, geothermal, hydropower, are supported under the destination 3. Most of the money goes to the destination 3, to be honest, by the way. Destination 4 is about the transition of the buildings and the industrial systems. For buildings, as you know, building structures are the most consuming, one of the, after the time, what was the power generation units, the buildings are the most consumable of the fossil fuel. So energy transition in the building sector is essential for European. So that's why building transformation are supported under the destination 4. In industrial aspect, especially especially for the industry to use the low energy, return of the waste energy researches are supported in here. In destination 5, clean competitive solutions for all transport modes. All type of transport modes, research and innovation are supported here. transforming the road transport to zero emission mobility, e-mobility, basically, accelerating the reduction of all aviation impacts, aviation supports are given here, or contribute to competitiveness of European waterborne sector. The sixth one, safe, resilient transport and smart mobility services for passengers and the goods. It aims to address safe and smart mobility services for passengers by accelerating the implementation of innovative, connected, cooperative, and automated mobility. SCAM, its short name is SCAM, and it aims to further developing multimodal transport system through sustainable, smart, long-haul, and urban freight transport and logistics. As you can see, we have the 6 destinations, but those destinations are cross-cutting, especially with the 2. So we can say destination 1 is climate. You know, the name of the cluster, climate, energy, and mobility. Climate stands for destination 1. All the climate research, specific research, are supported under the climate 1, destination 1. Its budget, it's around 221. For energy domains, destination 2, battery, but stationary applications, not the car applications, but all other areas for energy in destination 3 and destination 4, it's more than the 1 billion euro eligible call topics are listed there. For mobility, for batteries, for the mobility applications, but also mentioned I just in my previous slide, are listed here for destination 2, destination 5, and 6. The budget is around 900 million euro for the 2-year call topics. So, call deadlines. Today we focus on the 2024 call topics. 2023 is almost completed already. So that's why today we targeted the 2024 call topics, eligible call topics. So for destination 1, the first eligible calls are going to open on 12th of September. And it will be deadline for 5th of March. For destination 2, for the battery applications, it will open on 7th of December and it will be ended in 18th of April. For destination 3, the deadline opening date is for 12th September again, but the deadline is different, 16th of January. For destination 4, for the energy efficient in buildings, there are 2 different deadlines. For the first cutoff, 7th of December is the opening date, and the deadline is 18th of April. The second cutoff call deadlines will start with 17th of September, and it will be end in 21st of January 2025. For destination 5, for the transport modes applications and supports, opening date is 7th of December and the deadline is 18th of April. And the last destination, destination 6, the calls will be open for submission 4th of May, and it will end, deadline is for the 5th of September. As you can see, calls are not still open, but when you go into the funding and tender website, you will see the list of call topics. So that doesn't mean you need to start after the 12th of September. You can start today. Even most of the potential winner consortiums already started 6 months ago. Calls are listed and open, transparent, and they started as soon as possible. So those deadlines are just giving, it's important for the European Commission expert evaluation services, actually, to be honest. So there are more than 20 call topics which are listed as INCO. But I am not going into detail all of them. But in order to give you some glimpse of idea how call topics are seen, how you can read it, why it's relevant for the international cooperation, I will give 5 call topics overview. Then you will understand the idea, basic idea, how does it work. I hope I can explain efficiently. So the first example of call topics in the battery section, battery area, destination 2. And by the way, I am going to explain how those call topics are read. Actually, most of the time, as national contact points, we are communicating which call topics you are interested in. We are always say that 2024 D2 1 and D2 in order to be more efficient. What does it stand for? It I am going to try to explain it. Horizon means Horizon Europe program. CL5 means cluster 5. 2024 is the 2024 call deadline topics. D2 is standing for the destination 2. 3. 01 means the first call batch. 02, the call topic, actually the number of the call topic. So this is the coding actually. Whenever you write those codes to the Google or funding tender, you immediately see this list of call topics, by the way, details of the call. So D2 standing for the non-lead sustainable batteries with European supply chains for stationary storage. The European Commission gives it's expecting the proposals which advance the development of non-lead battery systems and to show their potential to be manufactured at scale at cost the market will bear and which regulatory requirements. Project may target any stationary storage applications. This topic is open to all non-lithium battery chemistries. So the target is to develop and demonstrate sustainable, safe, non-lithium battery solutions. You know, lithium is one of the abundant resources and one of the basic challenge to battery future. So that's why European Commission is advancing researches, looking for the alternative materials other than the lithium. Develop and demonstrate an innovative non-lithium battery technologies with energy density through the battery system sustainability and compatibility, and risk will be demonstratable, managed by lowest possible level. Why this is the INCO call? In the call topics, you will see international cooperation is encouraged for the use case, particularly with India, Africa, and Australia. But that doesn't mean it's excluding other areas. But it gives the message international cooperation is expected, but not requirement. For example, think about 2 proposals. One proposal is excellent, 5.5, it get it. Other proposal also 5.5 get it. But in the impact section, the competition is starting. Which one is giving some additional things? You know, this is an additional point in a way when you consider it. So that's why in order to get the winning proposal, sometimes, you know, coordinator is looking for the other partners other than the Europe, etc. So this is a convincing point for the experts and for the European Commission. I am trying to say that why international cooperation could be involved in the proposals. So the project budget, consortium budget, 7 million euro is expected. Funding will be European Commission, but that doesn't mean the project budget is limited with 7 million. It could be higher, but the funding eligibility will be 7 million. the other cost could be on cost or other finance resources can be, synergized. So total call budget, 21 million euro. And that means 3 proposals will be funded. Type of action, there are 3 types of action: research and innovation, and coordination and support action. What does it mean, those type of actions? When you see the innovation action, it means that technology readiness level is higher expected, which means not basic research. It's more innovative research and demonstration activities are supported. That's why if you're a profit organization, European Commission is going to support 60% of the eligible cost. But if you are a non-profit organization, you will be funded 100%. So at the end of the project, you need to convince your project will reach the technology readiness level at least 6 or 7. This is the first example of call topics. Second one, in the area of energy, renewable energy. It's about the improvement life harvesting and carbon fixation with scientific biology and bio-inspired biometric pathways for renewable direct solar fuel production. Wow, very complicated, right? But don't be scared. Actually, it's basically aimed to alternative solar energy to renewable fuels in the end. So the aim is to achieve significant improvement of components of both light harvesting and carbon fixation, which are rate limiting for solar conversion of solar energy. So all relevant of aspects of safety of the technology are expected to address. Hydrogen as a fuel and product is excluded. To read call topic is very important. Every sentence means standing is for something. If you start a proposal, you didn't read the hydrogen aspect and you included hydrogen, it's failing point. So that's why call topics, work program kind of constitution. You have to obey it. And if you see something is not expected, excluded, you have to run there. You don't include it. Don't include that one. So in the expected outcome, when I search it, I saw reinforced European scientific basis and European export potential for renewable energy technologies through international collaborations are supported. One is African Union EU Climate Change Sustainable Energy Partnership. Other that mission innovation. What is mission innovation? Mission innovation is actually a global innovation program. Please, after this event, type mission innovation and see the list of countries, which are the mission innovation countries. It's a global program. United States there, Canada is there, Brazil is there. It aims to overcome energy problem together with the global approach by the means of the research and innovation. It gives the priority policy baseline for the international cooperation. So in the call topics, you will see mission innovation countries are expected also. In there, you can see China or other big countries. Please check after this event what is the mission innovation and you will see the details. So since the time is approaching very fast, sorry about that. I was not aware of it. So the other call topics, for example, let's go to the last one because the time is passing and those are the all call topics. That's why I'm not going to cover all of them. So, but what I'm going to say one more time, it's about when you see international cooperation is encouraged, please just look at that strongly. For example, in this innovative community integrated PV systems, it's written that Mediterranean region is encouraged. What does it mean, Mediterranean region? Italy, Turkey is Mediterranean countries. But this is not Mediterranean region expected. Other non-associated Mediterranean region countries, Tunisia, for example, or Algeria, Egypt, Lebanon, Israel. Israel is part of associated partner. So, as you can see, there are lots of opportunities in destination 3, in destination 1, destination 2, also destination 6. All of those core topics are flagged as an international collaboration. Please read them carefully and see the relevancy of your research and for your region. Good news, all those core topics will be explained detailedly by the European Commission on 17th of October. It's a virtual event, so it's open to anyone. Please register the event by this link and look for the details of the European Commission experts presentation. Other good news, Horizon Europe, since it was covered before events, Pillar 2, most of the consortiums are expected to be at least 3 eligible countries and 3 different organizations. So what does it mean? Consortium should be more than 3 partners. But believe me, I never seen a project with the 3 partners in the cluster 5 got the winning project. If it's a basic science project, with what does it mean? Research and innovation project, most of the time it's higher than 5 partners. If it's an innovation action, for example, in the mission calls, sometimes it's reached to 50 members of the consortium, 50. So networking is very important in the Pillar 2. So GreenNet is an NCP project. I will give after this slide detail. Is open now. It's open for registration. A matchmaking website. By registering this event, by call details, by specifically targeting the call priority, you can arrange meetings and set the meetings and the networking. You can start networking actually. So there will be brokerage event after the info day, 18th of October. Please register this event as well. Before this event, brokerage event, limited participants allowed, although it's virtual. But anyway, please register as soon as while European countries are in the holiday season. Maybe that could be a good opportunity for you right now. So GreenNet is an NCP network project. TÜBİTAK is part of this GreenNet network, by the way. So aim is actually professionalization of cluster 5 NCPs. What is NCPs? In each country, the Commission nominates national contact points to disseminate the information. So I am also national contact point. As a national contact point, my main task to deliver the correct information with my stakeholder and international partners. So cluster 5 project aims to increase the capacity of NCPs. Also give some resources for the opportunities. So we have the GreenNet website now. By going into the GreenNet website, you can follow up all relevant info days, workshops, etc. Basically for the cluster 5. And there is a partner search tool there. So this website, the project has been started last year. Still, we are putting some components. And please check this website as well. Some useful links. Horizon Europe Info Day, I just put there all the list of the eligible useful links. GreenNet brokerage event, funding and tender. Funding and tender is the one-stop shop for the funding and tender opportunities for the Horizon Europe. And not Horizon Europe, for the European Commission framework programs and the union programs. When you go into the funding and tender, you will see lots of framework programs and the union programs there. For example, you know, Horizon Europe is one of them, Erasmus, I don't know, Digital Europe, all of them are listed there. You can only find the application portal for proposals in the funding and tender. Please check the funding and tender website, Greenet website. Since we don't have details, actually I was going to explain more detailedly. European Commission is looking for experts for the evaluation of the proposals, and it's open to global researchers. If you haven't registered as an expert, please do that. By registering as an expert, you will have the opportunity to review all the magnificent proposals, and you would have the opportunity to be in the network of the expert pool. And European Commission, of course, is paying some amount of money. I'm not sure how much right now is changing, but what I am caring more about it, anytime when I do the info days in Turkey, I always push the researchers to be part of the expert registration site, because by reviewing, you can understand how to write a good proposal. That's my idea. There is a partner search website of the Horizon Europe in the funding and tender. I put it there. And also European Union International Cooperation website is listed here to see the policy priorities of the European Commission. So I hope you find it useful. This is our generic email address for TÜBİTAK. Anytime you can send email, we will try to our best. But EuroAccess is the excellent platform for you helping the researchers in the global way. TÜBİTAK is also part of the EuroAccess. My colleague is here, EuroAccess National Contact Point. I would like to thanks again for the EuroAccess to giving such opportunity for me. I hope you find it useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shari. And before Jenny takes over, because we have quite a few questions from you, thank you so much. An incredibly detailed presentation. And as we have been telling you in the chat, we will share Shari's slides with all of you in the next couple of days. And he has added all the hyperlinks so you can look at this in great detail. So don't worry about it. I just quickly wanted to remind you of something that Shari said, and I think that's very important. It is the funding and tender portal. This is where you will find all the Horizon Europe calls, because there were some questions in the Q&A box about deadlines. We said at the beginning, this is a program that runs until 2027. So there will be new rounds of calls in the coming 3 years. So look at the funding and tenders portal to look at the opportunities that are available for you now, but that might also come up in the coming couple of years. So don't worry if you've missed one of the deadlines, there are more opportunities to come. So the funding and tender portal is where you find the calls, you find the partner search tool as well. And you also find the opportunity that Shari said for you to become an expert, to help look at some of the proposals that are being submitted, and through this to hone your expertise. So I'm stopping here and I'll hand over to my colleague, Dr. Jenny, to moderate the Q&A. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Susanna. And thank you so much, Shari, for that extensive presentation. We learn a lot every day, even if Susanna and I have also listened to a lot of things already about Horizon Europe. There's a lot of things more that we can learn. And certainly today is a very good day to learn from you. I want to profit from having Dr. Rosna still here. Maybe Dr. Rosna, based on what Dr. Shari has been explaining, you can tell us if you can already see some intersections with what the subcommittee that you are handling in COSTI is doing, and also, you know, what the missions are as well, and in the cluster 5 is most especially.
Thank you, Jen. Yes, from what has been explained by Dr. Shari, yes, there are a lot of opportunities actually under those destinations, the 6 destinations. So I really hope we have the opportunity to work together, and perhaps, even though, yeah, I know Singapore and also Brunei maybe have difficulty in participating, but again, that doesn't limit us from coming together to produce a good project. I hope we can really work together in the future.
Thank you, Dr. Rosta. And on that note, I want to take on what you just said. Chari, you know, of course, that Brunei and Singapore are not in the list of the automatically funded countries. Do you see other ways for, you know, to create a collaboration under these conditions?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, I was going to detail it. So Singapore partners and Brunei partners could be involved in the proposals as associated partners. What does it mean, associated partners? Is not eligible for funding, but they could be work package leader or work package partner in the proposals without funding. So with their own cost, or they could go to the Singapore or Brunei funding agency to get the funding. So that's the opportunity. Also, in my presentation, I give some exceptional situation. If there is an exceptional research there, and if you convince the expert panel, so funding could be eligible for the Singapore and Brunei partners also. So there is a two-way, with funding or without funding. So no one is saying anyone, any country, well, of course, Russian sanctions and the sanctioned countries I'm excluding again. If you are not in the sanctioned country, you can be part of the proposals. But it's about the funding availability or not. So that's the question mark every time.
Thank you so much for that explanation. I want to expand the discussion a little bit, but before I do that, I want to reiterate what my colleague Dr. Susan explained earlier, that with Pillar 2 of Horizon Europe, this is really for institutions. So we see a lot of questions in the chat of participation of individual researchers. So I think you are more fit with Pillar 1. So there are opportunities for you in Pillar 1 for sure. And we will have info sessions in the next months and weeks actually on opportunities for that. But I want to reiterate again what Dr. Susanna said, that for Pillar 2, you really have to be with your institution to be able to collaborate. So with that, I want to take on question number 1. If you can see it on the chat, Chari, there's a researcher. The researcher is in the EU, but is in one of the campuses in ASEAN. So the main campus is in EU. I think I know what it is, but since this person is hiding the institution, I will not say the institution as well. So the main campus is in the EU. I think they have an affiliate campus or a sub campus in ASEAN. In this case, when they participate, are they considered an EU entity or an ASEAN entity?
So, if I am wrong, please correct me, since I'm not legal and financial NCP. So this is another expert domain area. But as far as I know, it has to apply with the EU institution, not with the affiliated institution. For example, think about that. Turkish universities are based in Central Asia, and it's affiliated with the Turkish-based university in Ankara, METÜ, for example. If they apply with the affiliated institution from the Asian country, they are not eligible, like in the associated agreements. But if the researcher is applied on the name of the EU-based institution with their PIC number, that could be eligible. So I hope I explain. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
Okay, thank you so much for that explanation. And I think you mentioned a little bit on the PIC, and I get this question a lot, so I want to add this to the list. You know, how early should an institution, you know, register in the funding and tenders portal, and especially, you know, get a PIC? Is it, you know, even before they decide to apply, especially since there's a lot of information there, or do they wait until they form a consortium?
It's very easy, actually. It would not take more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get the PIC number. So I suggest to take it as soon as possible, if it's possible. But please, deciding to take the PIC number, check the PIC registration list, and you will see that maybe somebody take already on the name of your institution before. So if you cannot identify the person who take this PIC number, there is no worry, as long as it's not validated.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean difference, validated or registered? There are two PIC status. The registered means the PIC number has been taken, but not any proposal has been funded yet. So there was no validation process. Validation process is taking time after the grant agreement, in the grant agreement preparation phase. So please check it if you have a PIC number, if you could identify the person who has the PIC number accession, etc., then there is no point. If you don't have any PIC number, you can take it any time, actually.
Okay.
It's a very easy process. It's very easy, to be honest.
And you would be more visible if you are already inside. So I think that's a very important point.
I agree on that. Without a PIC number, thank you very much, Jan, for this. You cannot register for the partner search section, for example, or you cannot be visible. So take it as soon as possible with the detailed information by describing yourself, your capacity, your strength, etc.
Thank you so much for that, Chari. And another question still related, to partnerships. One of the things one of the common challenges for research institutions here in ASEAN is to find, an EU partner. You gave an example, of course, with finding it in partnerships, and there are brokerage events that are already planned. How else could you give maybe tips and tricks on how to find EU partners as well?
So that's a very good, indeed. We are receiving this question a lot in Turkey. We are also far from the Western Europe, by the way. So what we are suggesting Turkish researchers, be visible as much as possible in brokerage events. If you have the resources or supports, go to physical brokerage events in Brussels. Brussels is the key point, actually, because it's the center. European Commission is there. Go into the, all the physical events as much as possible. Other one, if you're a research entity or SME, etc., there are some network organizations in Europe. For example, in energy, there is a European Energy Research Alliance.
Okay.
This is a alliance is composed of the research entities, and basically there are 16 joint programs there. It's a kind of cost program, and the researchers are just applying for membership, and in this membership you can see all the strong researchers from Denmark Technical University, from Oxford, or all the researchers are sitting there in their expertise areas, and they are discussing the opportunities for the Horizon Europe or other co-funding mechanisms. So being a member of the Horizon Europe relevant networks is the key. So that's why as BİTAK, we give lots of support, incentives for Turkish researchers or the SMEs to be a member of the important European Union organizations. And the other one, Jan, cost.
Yes, absolutely.
Cost is very important. Cost is the key. It's one of the door for the collaboration. I believe cost is a global program, right? So as far as I know, be a member of the cost network. Network organizations, being part of the networks are key also.
Please let me stay on this topic a little bit more, Chari, because if you see in the chat, there's a lot of expertise already and a lot of scientists who are already working in this topic. So could you give us also an advice on how we can build this network inside of ASEAN and then connect it not only to Europe, but even to Turkey, where you represent?
So I believe, if I understand your question correctly, this network, the ASEAN country researchers. So what I suggest that actually strongly support to and direct them. Maybe that's a very good question. I need to think. Maybe as ASEAN countries, you can organize or you can come up a B2Match website, etc., like Greennet. If researchers go in there, and if we could disseminate this information with the European partners, and these B2Match platforms are open all years anymore. And those partners could be visible there. And if European partners are looking at ASEAN countries, they can go there. And Turkish researchers, if it's looking for ASEAN members, can go there. We are not, Horizon Europe is not only the program available program. Eureka, for example. Eureka is the SME program, Eureka network. So there are lots of opportunities. Maybe what I'm going to suggest that we have very valuable, more than 230 people here. Maybe we can collect them together and integrate with the European researchers via using the B2Match platform, etc. That's the first thing come into my mind, to be honest, right now.
Yeah, this would be a very good, don't you think so, Susanna? Susanna is here, of course, with us, and I think this is an inspired idea. And thank you so much, Shari, for that. We will definitely, take that into consideration, because we really need to do a bit more targeted matchmaking, especially with the expertise that we have in the room. I see a very interesting question here, and I know that you represent Turkey, Shari, but perhaps you would like to take this in also, because this is also a common question that we get. We have a question that says, as a social scientist, I wonder if this funding covers research locations outside EU and the associate countries, for example, to do research in ASEAN. I may be wrong, but I get the sense that funding from EU must provide direct benefits to EU. Considering very limited research funding here in ASEAN, does it mean that EU funding may not have direct benefits to ASEAN?
Could you repeat that question again? Sorry.
Yeah, it's in the chat. I know that it's different when I read it, but yeah, it says, so it's social scientist. It says, I will read it again. As a social scientist, I wonder if this funding, so Horizon Europe, covers research locations outside EU and the associated countries, for example, to do research in ASEAN. So using Horizon Europe funding for ASEAN. I may be wrong, but I get the sense that funding from EU must provide direct benefits to the EU. Considering very limited research funding here in ASEAN, does it mean that EU funding may not have direct benefits to ASEAN?
I got it. This is a very good question. Yes, in a way, the proposals has to meet EU policy priorities.
Okay.
But EU policy priorities are beyond of the EU.
Right.
It's a global effort. For example, for climate, energy, and mobility, it's a global problem, and EU want to tackle this problem in global cooperation. In the end, it will serve to all global countries, all actually Earth. So in a way, yes, it's priority for EU, but in the end of the projects, if there is an output, it could be open the way for the ASEAN countries in the end. So it's a global problem solving. So it's a priority now, solving the problem. The pillar 2 means, the name of the pillar 2 is the societal challenges. It was European societal challenges. Now it has changed global societal challenges. So that's why, especially for cluster 5, I would say its purposes to the global ends, to be honest.
Yes, that's right. I mean, yes, of course, it is an EU project, and it has EU funding. But of course, as there is what we call as the EU global approach to research and innovation, and it understands that, of course, some of the best scientists are not just in the EU, but it also in other parts of the world. There's a lot of things that we can work together, especially in addressing common worries and common problems, and also reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. So it is So to answer your question, there are projects actually that are done in ASEAN. A lot of projects that are done in ASEAN, like on water, for example, there's SOS Water. That's a Horizon Europe project. It has the participation of Vietnam, and there's also projects also happening in Thailand, many other countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and all the other countries as well. So yes, it is. The idea is Horizon Europe, of course, is open, and we want to have excellent scientists and excellent science coming together. Charlie, we already extended a lot. It's 20 minutes.
Oh,
We
it's
want to
because of me. Sorry.
No, we want to honor your time, of course, but we want to thank you so much for that extensive explanation on Cluster 5. And also this, we want to thank as well, of course, the subcommittee of COSTI and the ASEAN Secretariat. Dr. Vani Narita is here. Thank you so much, Dr. Vani, again. And we will have another session in next month on space. But with that, I'll give the floor back to my colleague Susanna to close the session. Thank you, Susanna.
Yes, for me also just a very, very big thank you to our speakers today, to our colleagues from the ASEAN Secretariat, and to all of you out there. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that the information was useful. And as Jenny said, we will definitely look into the suggestion by Shari to perhaps create some form of matchmaking with the European research community in this particular field. So do keep an eye on our website. We will definitely come up with something. But first of all, we'll message you in the next couple of days to share the slides with you and the recording of the session. And we're always available to answer your questions and hopefully to help you facilitate that collaboration with Europe. With this, I think, thank you so much, everyone. And we look forward to working with you all again very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.